Welcome back. So this is part 5 of A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I'm Dan Cordova, and this last chapter is called The End of It. Yes, the bedpost was his own. The bed was his own. The room was his own. I will live in the past, the present, and the future, Scrooge repeated as he scrambled out of bed. Oh, Jacob Marley, heaven and the Christmas time be praised for this. I say it on my knees, old Jacob, on my knees. They are not torn down, cried Scrooge, folding one of his bed curtains in his arms. I don't know what to do, cried Scrooge, laughing and crying in the same breath. I am as light as a feather. I am as happy as an angel. I am as merry as a schoolboy. I am as giddy as a drunken man. A Merry Christmas to everybody. A Happy New Year to all the world. There's the door by which the ghost of Jacob Marley entered. There's the corner where the ghost of Christmas present sat. It's all right. It's all true. It all happened. I don't know what day of the month it is, said Scrooge. I don't know how long I've been among the spirits. I don't know anything. I'm quite a baby. Never mind, I don't care. I'd rather be a baby. Hello, hello, yeah. He heard the churches ringing out the lustiest peals he had ever heard. Running to the window, he opened it and put his head out. No fog, no mist, clear, bright, cold, fresh air. Merry bells, oh, glorious, glorious. What's today? Cried Scrooge, calling downward to a boy in Sunday clothes. What's today, my fine fellow? Said Scrooge. Today, replied the boy. Why, it's Christmas Day. It's Christmas Day, Scrooge said to himself. I haven't missed it. The spirits have done it all in one night. They can do anything they like. Of course they can. Hello, my fine fellow. Hello, returned the boy. Do you know the poulterers at the corner? Scrooge inquired. I should hope I do, replied the lad. An intelligent boy, said Scrooge, a remarkable boy. Do you know whether they've sold the prize turkey that was hanging there? Not the little prize turkey, the big one. What, the one as big as me? Returned the boy. What a delightful boy, said Scrooge. Yes, my buck. It's hanging there now, replied the boy. Is it? Said Scrooge. Go and buy it. Go on, exclaimed the boy. No, said Scrooge. I am in earnest. Go and buy it, and tell them to bring it here, that I may give them the direction where to take it. Come back with the man, and I'll give you a shilling. Come back with him in less than 5 minutes, and I'll give you half a crown. The boy was off like a shot. I'll send it to Bob Cratchit's, whispered Scrooge, rubbing his hands and splitting with a laugh. He had no sense. It's twice the size of Tiny Tim. He went downstairs to open the street door, ready for the coming of the poulterer's man. It was a turkey. Why, it's impossible to carry that to Camden Town, said Scrooge. You must have a cab. The chuckle with which he said this, and the chuckle with which he paid for the turkey, and the chuckle with which he paid for the cab, and the chuckle with which he recompensed the boy, were only to be exceeded by the chuckle with which he sat down breathless in his chair again and chuckled till he cried. He dressed himself all in his best, and at last was getting out into the streets, but first did a somersault over his bed and placed his head in his hat, ready to go forth into the world. The people were by this time pouring forth, as he had seen them with the ghost of Christmas present, and walking with his hands behind him, Scrooge regarded everyone with a delighted smile. He had not gone far when, coming on towards him, he beheld the portly gentleman who had walked into his counting house the day before. He knew what path lay straight before him, and he took it. My dear sir, said Scrooge, taking the old gentleman by both hands, how do you do, sir? I hope you succeeded yesterday. It was very kind of you. A Merry Christmas to you, sir. Mr. Scrooge? Yes, said Scrooge, that is my name, and I fear it may not be pleasant to you. Allow me to ask your pardon, and will you have the goodness— Here Scrooge whispered into his ear, Lord bless me, cried the gentleman, as if his breath were taken away. My dear Mr. Scrooge, are you serious? If you please, said Scrooge, not a farthing less. A great many back payments are included, I assure you. Will you do me that favor? My dear sir, said the other, shaking hands with him. "I don't know what to say to such meanness." "Don't say anything, please," retorted Scrooge. "Bless you." He next turned his steps towards his nephew's house. "Is your master at home, my dear?" said Scrooge to the girl. "Nice girl, very nice girl." "Yes, sir." Scrooge entered the dining room. "Fred!" said Scrooge. "Why, bless my soul!" cried Fred. "Who's that?" "It's I, your Uncle Scrooge. I have come to dinner." "Will you let me in, Fred?" Astonished, Fred shook his uncle's hand and ushered him in. He was at home in 5 minutes. Nothing could be heartier. Wonderful party, wonderful games, wonderful unanimity, wonderful happiness. But he was early at the office the next morning, and Bob Cratchit was running late. Cratchit was a full 18 minutes and a half behind his time. When he arrived, he was on his stool in a jiffy, driving away with his pen as if he were trying to overtake 9 o'clock. "What do you mean by coming here at this time of day?" growled Scrooge. "I'm very sorry, sir," said Bob. "It's only once a year, sir," he pleaded. "Now, I'll tell you what, my friend," said Scrooge. "I am not going to stand this sort of thing any longer, and therefore," he continued, "and therefore I am about to raise your salary." Bob trembled. "A Merry Christmas, Bob," said Scrooge as he clapped him on the back. "A merrier Christmas, my good fellow, than I have ever given you for many a year. I'll raise your salary and endeavor to assist your struggling family, and we will discuss your affairs this very afternoon." Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father. He became as good a friend, as good a master, and as good a man as the good old city knew. And it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well as any man alive. May that be truly said of us, and all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, every one. Thank you. The end of A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens.